TCU beat the Big Ten champion head-to-head. Let's ignore and or diminish that fact, guys. Okay. We should have known.
I'm not
yeah,
ignoring
we're not ignoring that fact,
We'll get to
number
that.
one. Number two, I told Sip this during the break. We should have known that TCU wasn't going to win. At least not going to win. I still don't know if I saw 65-7.
Oh no, who did?
Right? But
what?
when we saw Alabama versus Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl, we should have had an idea that this could have been coming.
I wish I could disagree, but I can't. You're exactly right. I wish I was, and maybe all I did was think about.
I don't know. Is that unfair?
Hold on.
Is that unfair to TCU for me to say that?
If all I did was think about college football, maybe I would have ferreted that out. But no, it's not unfair. It's not unfair. Here's why. Here's why it's not unfair to TCU for you to say that. Because Alabama, now I watched that Sugar Bowl from start to finish. It was 45-20. And what I was hoping was I'd watch a game, the Sugar Bowl, where I wouldn't see a great talent disparity, because I thought it would be good for college football if we could watch the Sugar Bowl and say, you know what? Alabama's not that much more talented than Kansas State. Kansas State's done a great job developing players in its program. Nope. They have. Yes. They've done a good job, but Alabama's still so far ahead of them, and that's what you're talking about. Alabama, if you watched Alabama and Kansas State, and forget the yardage. The yardage wasn't that. The disparity wasn't that big. Alabama 496 total yards to Kansas State's 401. Forget that. I watched the game. It wasn't a game. Alabama's talent level is so much higher than Kansas State. Let's put it this way. On third down, Kansas State routinely would go to Cade Warner as their go-to receiver against Kool-Aid McKinstry, the Alabama corner. Who? Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing here? That's not a matchup, and it didn't look like a matchup.
Yeah,
Kansas State got up 10-zip, and I thought, okay, maybe they got something going. And then it quickly became apparent, like, no, the talent disparity is too big.
That's where. Okay, so last night, I was we were watching the game in a public setting, and
the hell's that supposed to be?
Well, we were watching the game, my buddies and I, and
in a public
space.
Okay.
And when it was 10-0, I kind of looked at my guy. I looked at my buddies, and I was like, "Guys, I think this one might be over."
Yeah.
And I said, it was like 90 yards to -1 at one point, and Georgia was just outplaying them from the start. And like that's where I don't think. It's Axel Foley says this. Just don't say they didn't earn the right to be there. That's not the case because TCU did what they needed to do, right?
Absolutely,
we've been saying it ever since the playoff got there. Reward the teams that have done their job that are supposed to be there, right? TCU. Whether it's Cincinnati, whether it's Notre Dame, whether it's TCU, it doesn't matter. They should be there, right? I think last night what it showed, TCU, in my eyes, it wasn't a fact or it wasn't a matter of they weren't ready to play the game.
Okay, what did it show then?
They just got hit in the mouth. Yep. They got smacked around from the start. And that tells me more about what Georgia and teams and programs like Georgia are, rather than what it tells me about TCU.
I agree with you. Now, I would say this.
I'm not sitting here today on January 10th, the day after the championship, saying, "Man, TCU wasn't ready to play." Because you can be a TCU, you can be a Kansas State. We know what kind of coach Chris Kleiman is.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Kleiman's going to get his guys ready to play.
The
Sugar Bowl for Kansas State is like the national championship for Georgia.
I'm with you now. Here's the deal. There's a couple of factors. Yeah, Georgia, you mentioned Georgia being there probably works in their favor in that conversation. They were a little more ready. And I'm still going back, though, to that Georgia's got the whole package in that not only do they have the talent, they were incredibly well coached last night.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the entire package. I keep saying Todd Monken because Monken was in control of that game from the booth. I mean, everything he was calling was working.
Well, listen,
I mean, TCU looked overmatched. TCU's defense looked overmatched. I don't know what I'm not gonna criticize their defensive coordinator too much because I don't know what you do there.
Well, that's exactly what my point is that this isn't a case for me to say TCU wasn't ready to play. How do you not get juiced up for the national championship? Max Duggan, you're just not. I think that tells me more about Georgia.
Well, that's what you said, and you're right.
And that's where I'm at. So it's like it's hard for me to sit here and be like, TCU shouldn't have been there. That was an embarrassing performance, which it was. But I think it just speaks about how much stronger of a program Georgia is.
I think you're right, and I think Georgia overwhelmed TCU,
Yeah.
and TCU probably wasn't ready for that level of punch.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like a fighter who thinks he was ready, but gets tagged, and he's like, "Okay, that guy hits harder than I thought. I don't know about this. This is." And now you have now doubts creep into your head, and I think I thought you saw that with TCU. I thought they were like, "Oh boy."